Last month, I made a shocking video that stunned the entire world when I told everybody that I would be switching over as a lifetime Windows user over to Apple operational. I have had a MacBook in hand for at least a few weeks now. I've been getting a hold of the pros and cons between Windows and MacBook. We're now going to talk about the positives. There's been a lot of really good experiences I've had having moved from Windows to Mac, and we're going to address those now. The first thing I'm going to mention, I just have to get off my chest, and I have to put it out there because not a lot of people seem to be talking about this. Being somebody that was using a 15-inch 4K touchscreen display down to a non-touch, lower resolution 13-inch display, I don't miss any of that. I don't miss the touchscreen. I don't miss the bigger display. If anything, it's just way more convenient and compact. I mean, don't get me wrong, it took some adjusting because what happens is when you have a laptop with a touchscreen, like you'll be typing and sometimes your mouse will be on the far left side of the screen and you have to click something on the right side, and so a natural reflex becomes just to touch it while you're doing stuff, you know? You can't do that in here, and I'll admit, on my laptop, on my MacBook, I felt a little stupid the first few weeks because I'd be sitting there typing and I'll just tap the screen. I'm like, oh, that doesn't work here. Who actually uses a massive amount of touch on their laptop? Yeah, if you think you do, I would encourage you to challenge yourself to pay attention over the next few weeks at how much you actually touch your screen. You'll probably find that you touch it here and there for a quick exit button, a quick adjustment, but for the most part, you just use a mouse. And in addition to that, the smaller screen has been really nice. I really thought it was going to be a burden for me having used a 15-inch because I edit videos. I need that space, and I don't miss it. A laptop's a laptop. It's compact. And if anything, having that smaller screen allows me to just take this laptop everywhere. And that actually brings me to my second point, which is just this laptop, I don't know how to explain it, feels just way more sturdy. I don't know, having used anywhere between the cheapest Windows laptops to different brands of the highest quality ones, they're just heavier, and it just feels like if I move it too much or shake it around too much, the internals will just be messed up. That's probably not the case. It just feels that way. They're heavy. They're just, it's so hard to explain. With this laptop, it just feels so well built and so simply built. That's a keynote. So simply built that I can take this and I can just close it, and it's just this nice little aluminum brick. I think it's aluminum. I don't actually know the technicalities of that. Oh, let's talk about the always on display. I love it. I absolutely adore it. And this is made even greater by the fact that coming from this HP Spectre laptop, I kid you not, I don't know if this is an issue I had just with mine, but I'd close the laptop and open it up 5 minutes later, and it would have shut down completely. Open it, you see the HP logo. You know the logo, the Apple logo you see only when the laptop runs out of battery entirely, and then you have to open it up and there's an Apple logo? That's what I would get every time I closed and reopened my laptop on the HP. It would shut down entirely. And that's insanity to me. That shouldn't, it's 2021. Why do I have to wait 5 minutes for my laptop to boot up every time I close it to go get a drink and come back to continue my Word document? The always on display here, it takes it from the way Apple was already pretty quick with booting up to just the immediate turn on. It's beautiful. And it's so beautiful that I've forgotten it exists. That's my favorite kind of advancement. My favorite kind of feature is the kind you hardly even notice exist simply because they just work so well that you forget they're there. That also brings me to the functionality side of things. Now, when I was talking about why I was sad I switched over, I mentioned some functionality differences that are kind of frustrating, like switching from control to command. But there are functionalities about this that whoop any Windows laptop clean out of the park. That's built into the system. That is a software design. Things like connecting secondary displays and audio outputs on this laptop as a video editor is miraculous compared to anything I've ever seen from Windows. And what I mean by that is, in my last video, I did mention how when I was using my Windows laptop, I'd be video editing, right? And I would be like, you know what? I want to plug in some headphones so I could listen to the audio. I'd plug in headphones, and it wouldn't come through my headphones, because I had to go into settings and manually switch it over to headphones. And sometimes it wouldn't detect my headphones. So I would switch it over to external headphones, and I just couldn't hear it. And to this day, I couldn't tell you why. It's just technical issues, things that should naturally happen. When you have a phone and you plug your headphones in, you automatically expect the sound to go to your headphones and not play on the speakers of your phone. I expect the same thing from a laptop, but it was so infuriating when I was using my laptop. I mean, it just wouldn't do basic functions like that. The same thing applied with external monitors. I swear every time I plugged in my external monitor, I had to change the pixel settings and the density and the display settings and the placement. And gone are those problems. Gone. Here, my laptop just gets me. My MacBook just understands me. I didn't have to adjust hardly any settings the first time I bought it and opened it up, plugged it into the external monitor, boom. Placement was perfect. I went into settings, adjusted a couple small things. I didn't have to do some weird technical pixel density alterations. It just knew what was supposed to look best, and I haven't ever had to change it since. Having unplugged it from the external monitor and then plug it in, unplug it multiple times, being in and out of my studio, never had a single problem. And then the cool things, like it's automatically defaulted to when you close your laptop, it just takes all your main home screen preferences and brings it over to your main display instead of shutting everything down. Like, I know Windows can do that, but you have to dig deep into settings and do some heavy stuff in order to get that to do that as a default. And this just gets me. Same with audio. It just gets me. And here's the last major benefit I'm going to talk about having a MacBook. And a lot of people are afraid of talking about this because then they're afraid of being accused of being hooked in the Apple ecosystem. You know, I'm proud to be in it, man. I've got an iPhone right here. And here's the thing. If you're going to have a MacBook, get in the ecosystem. Get an iPhone. I'm a huge believer to get what works best with the rest of your items. If I have a Surface Book, I'm going to want a Surface phone because they're going to work better together. It just so happens that Apple has mastered their ecosystem. Having communications between my phone and laptop is one of the most beautiful things. I write general scripts and outlines for my video, and just the very idea that I can go over to my notes tab, write some notes, and then have those notes automatically on my laptop under memo without updating it, without having to bring files over, without having to put anything in Google Drive. It's here. It's all here. I get a text on my phone. Boom, it's on my laptop. You know how wonderful that is with keeping your workflow consistent when you're hardcore. One of those days you're 5, 6, 7 hours working on a video, right? You're just grinding. And you get a buzz on your phone, right? One of two things happens. One, you don't see it for 4 or 5 hours and it's something important and you don't respond to them, whether that's your spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, or it's something important from work, you just ignore it. Either that happens or you do notice it, you pick it up and then you're distracted on your phone for way too much time. That's the way I am personally. This is beautiful because I'll be working, I'll see ding, little notification, you got a text from Donald, right? Click on that text notification, reply, type it up, boom, go back to my video in a split second. The workflow is just unbroken and it is a beautiful, beautiful experience. I take a picture here. I don't have to go through these stupid processes of loading them onto Google Drive and then picking it up from my laptop. If I take a picture for a thumbnail on my phone, boom, it's right here on my laptop. If I create a thumbnail on my laptop, boom, it's right here on my phone for putting onto Instagram. Now, at the end of the day, I've said a lot of good and bad things about it. If you haven't gotten the idea is I'm really happy that I've made this switch. And it's not because I'm suddenly an Apple fanboy. I still call Apple on all the issues and the mistakes that they make, and I understand that they're not perfect. But what they've created here is a nearly perfect system that just works in complete harmony. At the end of the day, the reason I'm so happy with my Switch thus far is primarily because there's nothing fancy about this. This MacBook I have, this iPhone I have the iPhone SE. That is a $400 phone, which by today's standard is cheap. Still's got the big old bezels, the home button from 2018, and my MacBook has bezels like there's no tomorrow. Doesn't have a touch screen. This doesn't have Face ID. It's just so simple. And I could care less because it does what it's supposed to do. I've just grown to learn over the years of using different laptops and trying to sacrifice functionality for features. It's just not worth it. For all the simplicities that my Apple ecosystem is, for the simplicity of an iPhone SE and an M1 13-inch MacBook with no touchscreen or without enough ports that I really want, despite all those things, I pick it up, I work, and it does exactly what I need it to. Every single time. That's their reputation. They do what they're supposed to do. They do it well, they do it right, and they do it very efficiently. And now, for the first time in my life, having used this, I can say they are smoking the game as compared to Windows or Microsoft in this territory. This Switch was so far been such a game changer for me as a creator. And with the new M1 chips in these laptops, I'm having virtually no functionality issues. The battery's amazing. The functionality is amazing. The performance is amazing. The speakers are amazing. I love the keyboard, the trackpad. Here's to hoping that next generation's MacBook is able to update some of the more outdated aspects of it, like the bezels and like the design. But even with those things, I can confidently say they do not bother me having used it. You just don't notice it when you have a perfectly functioning laptop, and I'm really grateful so far that I've made this major transition. However, let me know what you guys think in the comment section, because I'm interested to hear. This is a conversation. It's a debate. It's an ongoing and eternal one that will always be an argument. This is my stance so far in it, and I'll continue to update you as the months go by. And I'll be honest with you, if something comes up that I don't like about the MacBook, I'm willing to be perfectly open and honest. And the second that Windows or Microsoft comes out with a laptop that's better than this one, I'll let you know, and I'll probably switch over to that. But with that being said, that is about it for today, so I'll see you tomorrow. Later, guys.